Where we are in the life cycle right now is the cicadas are hiding right just below the soil surface and emerge when the temperatures are right. It's roughly around 64 degrees soil temperature. And they'll come out, crawl up trees or other inanimate objects like garages and stuff, and they will crawl out of their exoskeletal shell, which is the shell that they were in the nymph form, and they'll emerge as an adult. And at this point, they're soft-bodied. They're kind of white. They haven't really gotten their true colors yet. It takes about 2 to 3 days for their bodies to firm up, their new exoskeletons to firm up, and they become their true colors. They get to like a really dark brown, almost black color. Their wings become this really bright orange, which is very cool, and they'll have the distinctive red eyes. And after about a week after they emerge, the males will go crawl up to the tops of the trees and start singing to attract mates. And when they do this, the females will start to fly around them, and if they want to show that a male is, you know, worthy of her, she will flick her wings at him and they will mate.
Say, girl, if I was a fruit fly, I'd land on you first because you're so sweet.
And then the female cicada she'll lay her eggs on branches and even main stems of trunks. What she does is she cuts a groove into the branch to get to the vascular tissue of the tree. She'll lay her eggs into that groove. It's about 600 eggs, so it's quite a lot. And those eggs will then, after about 6 or 7 weeks, they'll hatch into very, very small nymphs. They're about the size of a very small ant. And they'll start feeding on the sap flowing from that vascular tissue. And then they'll feed for a short period of time, and then they'll fall to the ground. They'll start burrowing into the ground and then start feeding on plant roots, both trees as well as like herbaceous plants. And then they'll hang out there really feeding and growing for the next 17 years. Then they will emerge in that 17th year. The nymphs will come back up to the surface of the soil, and the process starts over again. So the cicadas have emerged. They're out now and basically building their wave choruses. Some people call it noise. Other people call it songs, right? But essentially it's going to be very loud, especially in areas where we have mature trees. They all emerge at the same time so that the predators, and there's lots of them, there are a lot of things that eat cicadas. They will eat, but then their bellies get full, and then the remaining ones that are still out are left to breed and continue on with their life cycle.
Hey girl, I used to waste all my time chasing butterflies, but nowadays, since I've met you, they're all in my stomach.
I think for the most part, people just need to keep in mind that cicadas aren't, they're not particularly good at flying. Sometimes people experience a cicada, it's not flying in a straight line and it's curving a little bit. And people just need to be aware of the fact that they're gonna sometimes get hit by the cicadas. Nothing to worry about. I mean, you will occasionally have a cicada that will climb onto your clothing, and it's no more annoying than someone tapping on your shoulder and say, hey, are you annoyed? Hey, are you annoyed? If you're not accustomed to having bugs crawling on you, just give it a quick, light brush off, and the cicada will fly away. They can't bite. They're only capable of taking plant juices from tree branches and those types of things. So trees that were planted more recently, those are going to be more vulnerable to cicada damage. So we often recommend that those smaller trees be wrapped in fine mesh. Often recommended that pet owners try and keep their pets leashed, so that they're not going off and eating like hundreds of cicadas at a time, because it can potentially cause them to have a bellyache. But under most circumstances, people will just enjoy the fact that this loud emergence only happens, for 4 to 6 weeks, and then the rest of the year it's going to be relatively quiet until the annual cicadas emerge, and then it'll be loud again, but probably not as loud.